We're about a month away from it officially being springtime, and it definitely doesn't feel like it's garden weather. I mean, there's snow on the ground right now. But if I wait until it's officially spring, I'm gonna be behind and playing catch up all growing season. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about the 10 things that I'm doing now to make sure that I'm ready for when it warms up. Because once it warms up, I'm gonna wanna be putting plants in the ground, not fixing all the problems that I should have been doing beforehand. The first task on my to-do list is testing my soil and then amending it based on what it actually needs. If you don't know what your soil needs and you start adding amendments and fertilizers, you're essentially guessing, and it may be overkill or not enough. For my raised beds, what I'm really interested in more than anything is actually my pH. When I first put it in my garden, I realized after testing that my pH was too high, that it was basic, over 8. Now I needed to bring that down closer to neutral, 7, or even a little below that 6.5. And I've slowly been doing that, but it's hard or takes time to bring that pH down. You can't bring it down too quickly. So I'm gonna be testing my beds and other parts of my garden to see how my soil is doing. Previously, I've sent off my soil to a lab to have tested, and that's great, but I can also test it at home using a simple testing kit that you can get from most big box stores. With that, I'll know exactly what I need. But if testing does sound a little too much, you can always just add compost. It's gonna have a nice balanced mix and won't really overdo it. Okay, this next task is a little tricky. It's pruning and cleaning up any perennials. Greta, you are so loud right behind me.
Okay, I'm switching to a voiceover now. A lot of gardeners start cutting everything back as soon as it gets warm. But there's a problem with that. Many beneficial insects like solitary bees and butterflies overwinter in plant stems and leaf litter. So that means if you clean up too early, you could be throwing away next season's pollinators. Before doing a full cleanup, wait until temperatures are consistently above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or 10 degrees Celsius. Many pollinators and beneficial insects emerge when it's warm enough. If you clean up too early, you might remove their overwintering shelters before they have a chance to wake up. And if you really feel you need to clean up, move debris to a safe area instead of tossing it, and use a gradual cleanup approach. Start with areas that you are going to plan to plant first, and then leave other sections untouched until mid to late spring.
And then everyone's favorite activity, weeding. But right now, before they really get established, is the time to do weeding. Thankfully, I have some assistance out in the garden today. How's weeding going?
It's good. I'm finding some sleepy earthworms.
Weeds don't wait for spring, and if you don't handle them now, they'll take over before you know it. The best time to get to them is before they go to seed. Pull them now and you won't have to fight thousands of new ones later. For areas I don't want to weed consistently, I'm laying down cardboard and mulch to smother them before they even start. The next item on my to-do list is to fix garden beds and other structures. Structural problems in your garden won't fix themselves, unfortunately. And once you're busy planting, you won't want to deal with them. For example, my raised beds aren't level and the soil is spilling out the high end, and if I ignore it, it's only going to get worse. I'm fixing this now, so when planting time comes, I can focus on what I enjoy most.
The next item on my list of things to get done before it's spring would be cleaning all of my garden tools, because gardening tools take a beating over the season. And maybe you're like me and leave your tools out in the rain from time to time, / almost always, or do things like break your shovel, which I did last year while prying out large rocks. So I'll be replacing the handle on this shovel, cleaning it up, oiling it, sharpening all of my pruners, my hose, and making sure that everything is ready for when it's nice and warm. And probably end up still leaving it outside. I'm going to try to do better. But these are things that I'm actually doing to get ready for spring. I don't know if you've noticed, but my outfits have changed a few times because I'm recording this video over a series of days while I actually try to accomplish things on this list. Another thing on the to-do list, which I've already started, is starting my plants. Now, this is going to be very dependent for where you are located, but I feel that for everywhere in the United States, you can be starting something now. Now maybe it's onions, which I started 2 months ago in January. I'm zone 6B, 7A. Or I've got things like, I got Swiss chard, some kohlrabi, different types of brassicas. I've got some lettuce started, and even have a few peppers and tomatoes. I'm going to hold off for a few more weeks for the bulk of those, but some of these take a while to germinate, or I'm attempting to see if I can get some fresh tomatoes by sometime in June. So I'm going to be doing a lot of potting up of those. But look for what you should be growing right now and get started on your seed starting, if that's something you're going to do. I made a whole video about this setup if you're interested. Link above or below. I never know where they show up.
And then mulching and remulching areas to protect and improve my soil. Mulching now is going to save me time and effort later. It keeps moisture in, suppresses weed, and builds better soil over time. I'm mostly using wood chips and compost, but straw and leaves work great too. If you're in the US, check out Chip Drop, which is what I've used in the past to get lots of loads of free wood chips. Free. Yes, free.
Excuse me, Greta. The next item would be getting any rainwater collection or irrigation set up. Last year, I bought this drip irrigation system for my in-ground garden beds and never set it up. So all the parts are still here. So I'm gonna get this set up this spring ahead of actually planting, because once I got things planted in the ground, it just seemed too difficult to try to work around them. At the time in the spring, it was raining well enough. So it's like, maybe I don't need it. And then it stopped raining for a month. So get your irrigation and your rainwater collection in ahead of time, especially in Kentucky where I'm at. There's gonna be a lot of rain starting off. So I wanna collect that for when it stops for a little bit.
The next item on my to-do list is to plan for the pollinators and beneficial insects. More pollinators equals better harvest. It's really that simple. I'm planting early flowers to support bees and butterflies, and also avoiding pesticides that could harm them. I used to be of the mindset that a vegetable garden, was for vegetables. I've since then changed my tune, and have been planting a lot more flowers to draw in all of those insect friends that help me out.
And then the last thing on my list is finalizing where everything is going to go. I have most of these beds figured out. This is my fenced in area, my area that's currently fenced in. I'll be making everything fenced in this year. But this area right here, I've got pretty well mapped out. This is, all the cold crops. And then I'm gonna be doing most of my warm season stuff in traditional rows right here. And mapping out, where's everything gonna go? Making sure that I'm not planting the same stuff in the same place year after year, figuring out companion planting. And I talked about these charts in my last video for record keeping. I made these on Canva and find them really, really useful to visualize where am I gonna put stuff. I often have more plants than I have space for, so the garden grows in unique and interesting ways every single year, but this does help me plan, at least initially. So what is on your list for the things that you need to get done before it's officially spring, before it warms up? Now, I know that there's some people watching this video that are in far northern latitudes. Had someone from the Fairbanks area comment on one of my videos. So your list is maybe gonna look, maybe not so different, but the timing is gonna be different. And then people who are down in Florida and Texas, you've probably done all these things. So what are you working on right now in your garden? Let me know in a comment below. If you found value in this video, hit subscribe. And if you want more content about gardening, all things nature, and living a happier, healthier, more sustainable life, consider subscribing. My name is Tyler Lloyd, and I wish you the very best. See you later.